Hi guys, welcome back to August Love Story, the channel. My name is Artika.
And I'm Tommy.
And today we are going to be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 5. And this episode is called Last Night Was Magic. Before we get into this review, please take a minute to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. Let's get into this review.
All right.
This is gonna be a quick one.
All right.
I don't have a lot to say. Start off with the person or the couple that we probably have the least to say about, Haley and Jacob.
We'll never have a lot to say about them.
They went and had lunch. He ate a raw onion. She thought that was disgusting. They talked about his workout routine again.
Yeah. But it was a different conversation this time. They actually talked about like what he does.
And not just, they work out.
Yeah.
He said on something, I didn't see it obviously, but someone mentioned it during something we did, probably the last video, where they were like, those were production-led questions.
Yeah.
To make him continuously bring up the workout. So that's the narrative that they want to give for Jacob. So Jacob, if that's the narrative you gotta have, I'll go nicer on you talking about working out.
Okay.
I'm just talking about me, myself, personally. I can't talk about other people that are reviewing the show. He kept referencing movies during the time that they were talking. She's never seen any of the movies that he was referencing. That felt all too familiar for my life because you reference things and I'm like, I've never seen that.
Are you talking about when they were like they had their date, their dinner date?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was talking when she asked him, like it was good questions that she was asking. Mm-hmm. My whole point in that part was she like was having the conversation based off of the answers that he was giving. Oh
no, absolutely. You like they were having an actual conversation.
Right.
And it did not feel like it was a spoon-fed to them conversation.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. But like I'm saying, I felt like her in that moment.
No, I get you, man.
He was mentioning stuff and she was like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, me neither, girl. Don't know nothing about that.
Y'all need to get out more.
Or y'all need to not stay in and just watch movies.
Hey, I like movies.
Haley did say that he was fun on this date, which I said was a good sign.
Where did they go?
The Shark Reef Aquarium at the Mandalay Bay.
I was like, they had these glasses on. And I was like, that's Jake all the way.
Yes. And she was obliging him because she's a Vegas girl.
I still don't think she likes him.
That's to be figured out.
Right. He likes her for sure.
Obviously. They talked about, like, I guess him doing wild out of character things. And apparently there was a pink thong story.
Yeah. And for some reason, that didn't seem out of character for me. Like, I think that's something. No, for him. Yeah,
I was just saying, you're not wearing the pink thong.
That's way out of character for me. I feel like that would be something.
He does seem like he's the kind of guy that you can do a dare, and he would be like,
"Oh yeah, I'll do that."
So yeah. Last thing that I wrote was they kissed while they were looking at dolphins at the Shark Reef Aquarium.
Those were dolphins?
Animals.
Okay.
Mammals.
Okay.
Not mammals.
I don't know. Okay.
Whatever. I think they were dolphins though.
They did kiss though.
They did. And you was like, ooh, they kissing.
Yeah.
Next up, you go to Brianna and Vincent or Clara and Ryan?
Up to you. Okay.
All right. Next I had on my paper was Brianna and Vincent. We're going to package these and put Chris and Paige in the direct middle. How about that?
Yeah.
So Brianna and Vincent were talking about their future plans, like where they would live when they got beyond decision day, which was a good sign. I like to hear people talk about their relationship progressing beyond the 8 weeks. She wants to live in a high rise. He wants to live in a townhome. He said he was willing to compromise because she's bossy. We saw them talk to Paige and Chris separately.
Yeah.
I'll get into that when we talk about Paige and Chris, and we'll just go back to Vincent and Brianna during that time. But the last thing that we saw of them without other couples around was them going to have dinner on the water. And we found out while they were on the water having dinner that they had consummated their marriage.
They did it.
I'll put "they did it" exclamation mark. So,
and my silly self, man, I was like, man, it sounds like they did.
And then right after that, something about Tommy. If you ever watch TV with him, whatever statement he makes or whatever question he asks, the very next scene always answers the question that he had. So he was like, it sounded like they did it. And she's in the confessional. Yeah, we consummated our marriage. I'm like, just waited 10 more seconds.
Yeah, that's it.
You got anything else to say about them, with the exception of the Paige and Chris?
No, that's
debacle.
I think they they're close.
They're gonna be the fan favorite.
Yeah, they're the positives. I'm waiting for this sounds terrible, but I'm waiting for the argument because I'm like, what would
you talking about the argument that we saw in the preview?
Yeah.
I think that argument did not have anything to do with them as a couple.
Oh yeah.
I think that they he got pissed off about something else.
Yeah.
And he shut down because he was upset about something else. I'm no expert, but that's just how I feel. Like, not to say that they can't get into a disagreement, but the gravity of how upset he looks did not seem like he was upset with his wife. It seemed like he was upset with something else, and his wife just happened to be there. Yeah. You get what I mean?
Yeah. That's all I got for them. I don't really got a lot for anybody.
They're such an easy breezy couple. Like, every week it's just like, her daddy didn't smile. They're happy.
They're good.
He checked all the boxes.
We're starting to see why they're together.
They had sex. All right. Next thing we know, they gonna come back at decision. They be like, we bought a house.
Bought a high riser, so there's that.
We live in Atlantic Station. Let's see. Next up, Paige and Chris. So we opened with production, talking to Chris about his secret. Then we had a flashback of 2 hours, which led us to getting to the scene about him not wanting to talk about his secret.
The fact that it took 2 hours.
Exactly. Like, if I was Paige, I would have been pissed off because don't take 2 hours to tell me nothing.
That you done told everybody else about.
Not even that you told anybody else. Nothing. Like, if you can't tell me something and it takes you 2 hours to figure out the words to say it, I'm going to be mad because just tell me.
Yeah.
Like, you're wasting time.
Right.
Let's see. So they had breakfast. During breakfast, he started to tell her something that was devastating, but he didn't want to tell her. She left. She came back to the room. There were a lot of dramatics. And then he had her come into the bathroom, take her mic off. I don't know why we act like we're not going to find out things.
Like, I don't understand the whole, let's turn on, I don't know why he would turn on the water and turn on the shower and all that stuff, because he's trying to hide the sound.
But production knew. And then you're on a TV show, so we're all gonna find out. So it's like, bro, just tell her. Like, the point is, at first you didn't want to tell her. Mm-hmm. Then you're like, you want me to tell you? Mm-hmm. Like, dude, come on, man. Like, you signed up for TV. I wanted the production tell them to do that. What, go in there?
Yeah.
No. Production wouldn't compromise their audio.
Yeah.
And their video. Like, production would want you to tell her right here in front of me, in front of these cameras, so I can catch every moment of it. Just think about Mari. Somebody running down the hall. Production wants that. That is what they live for.
All I can say is, man, this dude here needs some help badly, because I mean, like that's the number one thing people talk about when they get married is communication. Communication is the key. Communication is the key. Is a prime example where you can use your communicating skills to tell this girl what's going on. Like, everybody knows, like, you know, everybody's gonna find out. You know what I'm saying? even if we didn't already know, we were gonna find out what you told her in the bathroom.
Exactly.
So
she walks out of the bathroom. She says she's numb. She goes back into the bathroom in her clothes. She gets dressed. She goes over to Brianna and Vincent's room.
Champagne Vinny.
We haven't even got to Champagne Vinny, but that is a very fitting name for him because he's just like, I'm cool. So Paige then tells Brianna her and Chris's news, which is essentially that Chris has a baby on the way by his ex-fiance. Chris tells Vincent the same news, like we get the back and forth of the two scenes, how the women are treating the information versus how the men are treating the information. One thing I truly like about Brianna is that she did not interject her own feelings, although you know what she felt by her multiple curse words. She never said something like, hey, you should leave him, hey, you should go home. She was more of a, how do you feel? Yeah. What do you want to do about this? What can I do to support you? Like, she was really taking on the friend role in this. And so, like, I really like that about Brianna in this situation. When Chris told Vincent had questions. Vincent was Artica. When did this happen? Like, granted, we didn't see him ask those questions, but when he came back to Brianna, he had all the information that she did not have. So essentially, Chris told Vincent that they broke up in May and that they kept having sex with each other. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we said that they got married in September on this show. So they broke up in May. He then went on this whole process for Married at First Sight, got married in September. And apparently 6 weeks before he got married, he had sex with her when the ex-fiance's father died. I said they broke up in May, they kept having sex. And I said she's thinking about staying, but she isn't sure. The she being Paige. And the ex-fiance is 6 weeks according to Vincent. And that was the end of the conversation with the two girls and the two guys. Next we see Paige and Chris sit down to have dinner, I guess. And Paige really looked like she didn't want to be there, rightfully so. I wish we could have like a step-by-step of what's happening in her mind. Like, are you here for the money? Like, are you here to really make this work? Like, what's the... She says
she's really here because she feels like this is what God has planned for her.
That's the TV show answer. What is the real answer?
I'm just sitting here like, man, it's way too early in their relationship. First off, the man called you ugly. Secondly, I ain't gonna put words in his mouth.
He said he's not attracted.
He's not attracted to her. In my eyes, it's calling somebody ugly. Then he springs a baby on you.
I wouldn't say that it's calling them ugly, but I can see your rationale for that.
Then there's a baby in this. It's like it's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a lot for 4 days.
Right, and I don't think you deserve that.
Right.
So it's kind of like, God has this plan for you, but it's like
that's not what Drake's video looked like. When he wrote God's plan, that's not what we
you don't want to question nobody's faith or what they believe in or anything like that. But I mean, it's like step back and talk to someone. Talk to one of the experts. That's what I was expecting.
Pastor Cal, since it's God's plan,
right? Yeah, like I talk to Pastor Cal and see what how do you proceed with this, because I mean, nobody asked.
I bet Pastor Cal be at home like this Negro.
I bet he do. No, but we kind of saw when they was at dinner how Chris smoothed things over with her and was able to get her to come back on track with him.
Chris is a manipulator because that was definitely manipulative behavior.
He is definitely a smooth talker.
Manipulator.
Yeah.
He did ask her if decision day was today, what would she do? And she said she got the bounce. And I put at dinner that the tides turned. Essentially, he told her that, you know, she was his priority and, you know, he would do whatever he needed to do to make it work, which is a far, far cry from just 48 hours previously,
right.
when he was like, I don't know, because I don't like her. It's like, oh, now you need her to do something.
Right.
So you don't look like a fool on TV, and this is what we get. Let's see. I put down.
Go ahead.
I said she committed to staying, and basically now, and he's saying that he's committed and know why the experts put them together.
My thing, it was something that he said that bothered me.
Only one thing.
No, it's more than one thing. But this one just sticks out to me. He was like, well, she asked him, do you have feelings for your ex, his ex-fiance? And he's like, it doesn't matter because you're my focus. And so it absolutely matters.
It matters. Like 100% it matters. And I'm going to get into a little bit of our personal things once we get to the ending of like when everybody got together. Yeah. So I can wrap that up with a bow, but that's the end of my portion on them.
Yeah.
Were you done?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Next we had Clara and Ryan. They sat down at the beginning and talked about them matching and him already being an old man. Ryan is an old man.
Yeah, he's set in his way.
It's okay. And we actually, Tommy and I were laughing about this because we noticed a lot of similarities between the two of them and his grandparents.
Yeah.
Like his grandmother was one that talked a lot and his grandfather was a man of very few words.
Yeah.
Like I don't think your granddaddy said more than like 50 words to me the entire time that I knew him.
He definitely said more than that, I think.
To me?
Yeah.
I'm talking about to me. Like not around me, but just to me.
I wouldn't count his words.
So they got dressed to go see the dolphins. I thought they were going swimming with the dolphins, but apparently they just did a dolphin meet and greet. Yeah.
Sophie.
Yeah, they met Sophie. They fed Sophie. They rubbed Sophie and took pictures with Sophie. After they got done with Sophie, they went back inside and watched the dolphins through the, what is it called?
In the aquarium?
Yeah, through the glass. And they started talking about how they would do things, essentially raising kids, as it came to religion, what they would want to name their kids. And he said he wanted to name his son Elton. And she was like, no. And then she was like, okay, we can name him Elton John. And I don't know why it took me a minute to get that. But I definitely had a moment like, what?
Yeah. Rocket Man. Baby Elton John.
I said they go out to dinner and they talked about making it beyond decision day and how they were going to make it into their house instead of his house that she's moving into. So this is our second couple that's actually talking about life progressing beyond now. Right. And I really like to see that I go back to the last season, and that was one of the things that Woody and Amani did very early on, at least on camera. I can't say that they did it like nobody else did it, but they definitely did it on camera. And it was making sure that you're talking about how we're going to progress beyond these 8 weeks and these cameras being around, because the goal is to get married and stay married. And this was just speed dating on steroids.
Yeah.
That was all I had for Clara and Ryan.
Yeah.
Last up was Eric and Virginia. So Virginia starts out curling her hair to get ready to go to the pool. And I'm like, Eric, girl, what are you doing? They get to the pool. She says she needs a drink. They talked about at the pool about her communication skills and his jealousy. I don't know that I pegged Eric as jealous in the beginning, but I could definitely see how she got that, at least from that conversation, because he told her that he didn't believe that men and women could be friends. And I disagree.
Yeah.
One of Tommy's like best friends is female. So it's like, I don't feel any way about their relationship at all. And it's just, I don't know if he's had an issue in the past with people overstepping boundaries, or if he has been the one to overstep boundaries.
Because he was like, I know how guys think, and every guy has thought about their friend at least 100 or at some point in time to have sex with. Like, bro, does it even matter?
I mean, thinking and doing are two different things.
Completely different things.
But there are people in this world that I am friends with that I have, like men in this world that I'm friends with that I have never thought about having sex with at all. And I can't say for certain, but I'm about 98% sure that they haven't had that thought about me either. So, I
don't know, man. I just, they kind of showed his jealous strings in this episode, and the age gap, like they're not even that far apart.
Because he's like 34.
He's 34 and she's 26, I believe.
Yeah, so that's 8 years.
Yeah, like it's a gap, but you can see that they're in two different stages of their careers too. Because when they was at dinner,
he's established in his,
and he was like, I'm in the routine. I'll be gone for half the month, but I'll be at home for the other half. And she was like, she works a 9 to 5 and stuff like that. And a big concern for her was, is that she would feel alone in a lot of things, because he's gonna be gone.
When I was working 9 to 5. I would have loved for you to have been home 15 days out of the month. Like, that would have taken a lot of pressure off of me for other things. Yeah. Especially when you get into the having kids portion of life. Like, granted, we didn't have kids at that point in time, but it would have made things a lot easier to be like, okay, you're going to be at home with daddy and I'm going to do this. Or, hey, you can go pick them up from school, or you can do this, because I am fairly certain that he knows his schedule well in advance.
And that's something else too. It's not like initially what I thought was when he said I'll be at home for 15 days, it'll be 15 days straight I'm at home. But it's not like that. It's I'm gonna work a few days and I'm gonna be off. It's gonna equal out to 15.
It's like a nurse, because nurses usually work, granted they come home every night, but nurses work like 3 12s and then they're off.
Yeah.
So he would be essentially in that type of routine. His just happens to be 24 hours at a time, which is similar to how my dad worked.
Yeah.
My dad was a fireman, so he was on a day, off a day, on a day, 3 days off.
Yeah.
So his would probably be a little bit closer to that. Right. And so when my dad was off work, it was always easier to get like him to do things because you're off for 72 hours straight.
Right.
And then unlike Eric, my dad could sleep at work because he's a fireman. He work for 24 hours. But Eric has like the position and knowing his schedule where they could plan things and she would know when he's there and she could plan her life accordingly. Mm-hmm. And I think that it would work out great for her too, just because she could, while he's gone, still have those moments to herself and get to hang out with her friends and go to bars and not have to worry about, oh, I gotta go home, my husband's here.
Right.
You just make it so that you do those things when he's gone.
Yeah. and communicate those things with him, of course. Mm-hmm. One thing that stuck out to me about what he basically gave her an ultimatum. It's like, you either get with it or I'm gone. I was just like, that's a little strong.
Eric, you don't want 2 divorces under your
right.
Just because she want to like
because that's not something she's used to. That's something that she has to be used to, and telling her, this is how it's gotta be. Like, we all know that, your schedule is kind of set and it is what it is on that end, but like giving her an ultimatum, I don't think that was the right way to smooth it on in there. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Hey.
I hope that they can smooth that out and figure it out. But she does have a little bit of growing up to do because, I mean, she's 26. It is what it is. 26 is very different from 34. Like, I could not imagine dating 26-year-old you now. Not that you were like a party guy or anything, but you're a different person now.
Yeah.
And granted, we were together at 26, but I'm not 26 anymore. But you got anything else for them?
No, that was it.
All right, so the last thing that I wrote about was when the couples all got together. So every couple was present except for Virginia and Eric. During that time that everyone was sitting down, everybody noticed that Chris's energy was off. Of course, Vincent and Brianna already knew why the energy was off.
Right.
And he revealed to everyone what was going on. Everyone was very supportive of Paige, which Chris did not like for whatever reason. I don't know what he thought was going to happen.
I didn't either.
But
like, bro, like
Paige is the innocent bystander in you having a child.
Right.
No matter what she has done to contribute to the other BS in y'all relationship, she is the innocent bystander in you having a child on the way with someone else. He got up and he left. They continued on their conversation. Paige went over to meet him, which Paige is a far better person than I am in this situation. But she went back over to him, tried to get him back invested in the conversation, brought him back over to the group. He seemed to be doing okay. And then Eric and Virginia came in.
And okay, man.
So one of the things.
Oh, Virginia was a part of it too. Go
ahead. So one of the things that was interesting was they sat down again. They kind of jumped back into the conversation that they were having while Chris and Paige were away. And I think the question was like, what have you learned?
Or something
like that about like yourself and marriage, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. The question sounded cool. And so Eric and Virginia noticed that his energy was off, and I believe Eric said something first. And so Chris ended up bringing the conversation back up and letting them know what happened. And of course, everybody else is treating this like, oh, that's old news, we're over it. And Eric is like, dagger to my heart. And then this was the part where I was about to get personal with our lives, was that Eric asked, how do you know that this is your child? And that set Chris off for some reason that I just can't understand. And I know that we've done a video about this in the past, but at one point in time in life, Tommy had a child that wasn't Lily. We found out 6 years ago? I think it was 6 years ago that she wasn't his, but the child was 8 at that point. So like, when you're looking into that and two people that are not in a relationship with each other, I think it is very fair game to say, hey.
That was Virginia that said that.
It was Virginia, I'm sorry. Putting stuff on Eric, that was Virginia. Yeah. It's a very fair question to ask though. Because the only person who cannot question paternity of a child at all is the person that's carrying it.
Yeah.
They're not together.
Right.
Or so he says. We don't really know how that goes because there's a lot of stuff that Chris says that we just don't know to be certain. But when you look at it from that standpoint, I can't understand how you can get upset with someone for questioning the paternity of a child when you're not in a relationship with that person.
Well, I mean, like, I see where his frustration came from because that was like, it was like they kept jabbing at it. And he was like, I don't really want to talk about this no more.
I think he should have excused himself.
He probably should have excused himself and allowed them to talk amongst themselves. But asking, is it yours, is a very valid question. Mm-hmm. Like, most of the time, that's, that's one of the questions that I ask because of what happened to me.
Absolutely.
But I still feel like Eric and Virginia both.
They reacted as best as they could.
They reacted.
Being the outsiders.
Right. They reacted, but I feel like Eric kind of like overstepped and trying to tell him, hey, you need to be here for Paige, and she's this and she's that. You need to take a step back. That would have pissed me off.
I could see that, but I also can see that Eric doesn't read rooms very well.
Yeah.
Like, character flaw, doesn't read a room.
Let it go, brother.
But I think that because everyone else was already there, like Clara and Ryan, and then Jacob and Haley, having not had this information firsthand and them absorbing it, the four of them were kind of like,
Everybody was like, when they first seen it.
Yeah, it was literally like everybody else was just like, I don't know what to say. Okay, I don't know what to say. So with them not knowing what to say about the situation at all, they kind of just took a step back from it.
I think they had the best response to it. How do you feel?
But they had the buffer of each other.
Yeah.
And I think
I feel like being on the outside, being the only one knowing it, now you're telling me, you take a step back, you say, well, okay, how are you guys feeling about it? When the man tells you that he doesn't want to talk about it, let's change the subject, respect that.
I think it would be hard. Okay, it wouldn't be hard for me to not talk about it to him.
Right.
But when I go back to my room,
of course, I'll probably even call somebody like, yo.
Every time I'm in a room with any of the other couples, it is a conversation.
It's definitely a conversation.
Like,
just how Brianna and Vincent went back and talked to each other about it. That's how I would do.
But that would have been us in that same situation. It would have definitely been, okay, so what did you find out?
Right, exactly. We do that now.
Exactly.
But, I just feel like Eric took it too far. When the man was like, hey, just, I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody. I still want to be in this scene, but, can we talk about something else?
Not saying that he was right, but I get Eric's response because it's one of those, you don't want to talk about it. But let me just say this real quick.
And even what he said, I was like, Eric, that was unnecessary, man.
What, take care of your wife?
Yeah, like it's unnecessary because first off, I don't feel like Paige should be his wife. That's just my opinion. But
Eric's just trying to get through this process because this is something that we signed up to do.
Yeah.
So let's do it and do it to the best of our abilities.
Yeah. But I'm glad Virginia was quiet or got quiet because she was just picking at him.
Like angry black man.
Paige didn't want to talk about anything.
It's not Paige. It's not Paige's issue.
Yeah. Because
she don't have anybody pregnant.
Right.
Lord knows I hope she not pregnant.
Lord knows.
Y'all gonna tell us if it happened, because,
Yeah, but that's my thoughts on that.
All right, well.
Oh, and then Chris thinking everybody was supporting Paige.
Duh.
And not him. I was like, what did you want people to rally around you and say? And say what to you? Like, they don't know the other half of what you did or said to her. They only know that you have...
Brianna does.
Do she?
Yeah, because when Paige was sitting there talking to her, she was like, well, we got off on the wrong foot on the first one. Right. And I'm sure that was explained to Brianna.
So it's like... Yeah, they gonna rally around her, man. She's the female and she signed up to be married to somebody that didn't have extra things involved.
Who sort of kind of had a baby on her.
Right. So it's kind of sort of, And she can't, and it's crazy because she can't be upset because it was before they even knew that they were being picked.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's one thing to find out on your wedding day that you're a step-parent than to find out 4 days into your marriage that you are going to become a step-parent and you're about to have to witness this man go through doctor's appointments and things like that, because that's something that if you're going to experience for the first time, I wanted to, especially with me being married to you, I want you to do it with me, not with some other woman.
Right.
So, I mean.
Well, we found out who was pregnant, and they finally, the cat's out the bag now.
All right. Got anything else?
Nah, that's it, man. That's all I got.
All right, y'all. Please subscribe to our channel. Turn on the notification bell. Comment down below. Let us know what you guys think of the situation. If you were Paige, would you stay? Would you go? Do you think that Eric responded wrong? Are y'all like Brianna and Vincent, or Artika and Tommy ain't gonna sit up and talk about this as soon as you not in the room with Paige and Chris? And what can Haley and Jacob do to make their relationship come across more fun on camera?
I don't know, smile a little bit. I don't know. How you be giving him looks like?
I don't want to be here. I'm sticking it out to decision day because I agreed to do this. But God.
The question always comes up. I agreed to be married at first sight because she keep reminding herself why she did this.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. I'm gonna be the bride today. Alright, that's all I got. Y'all give us some, please.
So that's it.
Oh, one more thing. Friday Night Live this Friday, 8:00 Eastern time. It's Tommy's birthday on Friday.
Yay.
So we're gonna celebrate Tommy's birthday and talk about
whatever.
Something.
Yeah. So there you have it.
All right, guys. Bye.
Peace.